Welcome back. So this is where we left off, and this is what our current situation is. At about 810 pixel, we can make a change. Let me see. Let's say, yeah, looks like it's going to be 790. So that's where our menu starts breaking, right? So this is where we need to add some logics and conditions, etc., to make sure that our responsive menu works perfectly. So at this point, first thing I want to do, click here and give our whole nav bar a solid border, so that once we preview, we can actually tell this is going to be our full bar. This is what it's going to look like when we get rid of the colors and everything, right? All right, so next step is let's highlight this and do a Control C and Control V. For the Mac, it's a Command C and Command V to make a copy. And since we're going to need our mobile menu also, so let's make another. Just do a Control V, make another copy of it. Now we're going to deal with these two. And remember the number 790, that's the breaking point. We're going to make one of them visible at least, right? So for the second one, let's highlight our menu, delete it. Click on our button, delete that. So here, we're going to go and bring an icon. It's right here. So this is going to be our logout button. So let's just type in out, and this is the icon we're going to need. And what we're going to do, we will make it first because this is going to be on the left side, and let's make it 60 pixel height and width, and make it centered. Now let's click on this nav and bring in another icon. This we're going to leave on the right side, and this should have a bar, basically the hamburger menu. Alright, so now this hamburger menu, let's manage the size of it. Same way, 60 and 60. And centered. On this one though, we're going to have a 10 pixel on the right side so that it doesn't touch the borders. So look and feel wise, our responsive menu looking okay. Let's preview that. Now you see, if we reduce it, see at this point, the moment this one breaks, this will disappear and this will come into play, right? Okay, and the plan is to click on this one and have a drop-down menu popping up and down, right? So let's prepare our drop-down menu. Here we just get rid of logo, the button, the user, and what we do is click here and go ahead and change this to a column. As soon as we do that, they are now on top of each other, right? All right, so at this point, we just select this guy and center it. And go ahead and add a top margin of 30 and the bottom margin of 20. Actually, let's change that. Let's maintain everything the same. Let's go with the 20, right? And what we do, we get rid of all these guys. This guy, let's Control C and V, 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 right? And here, now we add a top margin of, let's say, 40. And this guy, a bottom margin of 40. Now let's go ahead and change these guys. It should be about. And at any point we can just change these and have them go into target pages, etc. Right? So now this looks like our drop down menu. So let's do a preview. Okay, so looking pretty good. We can later get rid of these borders. Now let's deal with these two guys, right? Our target would be 790. Let's do it again. Right, C92, 790, we're going to go ahead and swap them out. And then as soon as it goes bigger than 790, the other guy comes back. All right, first, let's go with this, add a conditional logic. Since we're dealing with visibility, right, before we add a conditional logic, I mean, it's not going to work if we just add it, because in the layout, it actually says the element should be visible on page load. So this we need to remove. We need to remove it first, and then go ahead and give the condition current page width. If it is greater than 790, then this element is visible, will be true. So let's preview. Let's go below 790 and it disappears. But it leaves a scar here, right? So to remove that, let's go back. And we have to check on this, collapse when hidden. And we're gonna animate it a little, just a simple slide up, so that when we go back and refresh and bring it down to 790, boom, it goes up and our new menu shows up. And now let's see how far we can push this. So this should be going all the way down to 360. All right, so anytime this kind of breakage happen, that means there's some sort of a min height there somewhere that we did not get rid of. So we just go back, and if I check here, look at this. This 400 should not be there. Just because we are statically forcing it to stop at 400, that's why this is now breaking. So what we should do to fix this, make it to 0. Now let's preview. All right, there you go. So now it should go all the way down to 360 or below. I mean, 360 satisfies me because this is the minimum we support, and Google DevTool also allow that's the minimum 360 for this Samsung Galaxy S8. So if we can reach this and don't have a breakage, we're fine. So now let's go back to the responsive mode. Looks like we are good. So what we do now is establish some sort of a relationship between this toggle bar and this menu bar. So to do that, let's go back, highlight this guy, and let's go create a workflow. When this is clicked, what we want to happen is, actually we just type in toggle and toggle the element. So right now we're going to find our menu item. Let's go back. What this we're calling this group mobile menu bar. So we should find group mobile menu bar, and that's it. Let's go refresh, and there you go. But now the problem is, while this is open, if we still increase this, it still stays, and plus this guy is still visible, right? So now we have to get rid of this and work on making this guy disappear when the screen size is more than 790. Let's work on that. All right, so to get rid of this guy when the screen size is more than 790, we're gonna have to do what we did here. check this out, this conditional logic. This is gonna make it visible when it's greater than 790, so we have to do the opposite in here. So let's go there and start it width. There you go. When the current page width is smaller than 790, then we should make this guy visible. Checked. And once this condition is set, we also have to make this guy disappear. Like this element is visible on page load, it should go away, and collapse when hidden is coming back. So now let's test it out. Preview. Okay, so now this is visible, and once we make it smaller, this guy comes in and we can toggle it. But if we get it bigger than 790, the other guy comes back, right? So now here's the problem. It's toggling fine, but then when we make it bigger, our menu changes, but this guy remains. What should happen is, as soon as this larger menu comes back, this should disappear. Now, making this happen is a bit more complicated. We have to implement the custom state. First, we start with, let's go with the page. Right click, select the parent first, and that's our Flexbox page. Here we have to click on this I button, and here we add the custom state, display on mobile. And the type would be yes or no, create. So our display on mobile has been created, and it has a yes or no status. So once this happens, and once we have our state, what we have to do, we have to go back to this workflow. Here we're toggling it all right, but then before we toggle it, we have to change the state to yes, which means, let's say let's refresh. Let's say we are at this level, and then this is closed. This is the normal state, right? So as soon as this is hit and this is open, we have to associate this state to yes, that custom display on mobile to yes. To do that, come here and type in set state of an element, and our element here should be our page, the Flexbox page, and our custom state is display on mobile, and we are setting it to yes. When it is open, it is set to yes. And now that this is created, this should always be positioned at the beginning. So first the state should be changed to yes, and then it should open it up. So now that this is set, so every time now this guy is open, our state would turn into yes. So now the question is, somehow we have to, as soon as like this gets bigger than 790, we have to change the state to no for this to disappear. So let's go back, and we're going to create a brand new workflow here, and this will be triggered by when a condition is true. And let's change it to nice little green. I mean, this is also a good habit to change, color code your workflows, because when it grows, the number goes really high, you can group them together as one type, right? So this can be very handy. And this condition, we want it to be true every time, because we don't know when the user is gonna make the screen larger or smaller. So every time any event takes place, every time the screen size gets bigger than 790, this should kick in. And now we should add the logic. We're going to try to add width current page. When the current page is greater than, the width is greater than 790, and this page, which is our current page, and the display on mobile status is yes, that means when the page is still larger than 790 but it is still open, that means it has a yes status. When that happens, we should add, first of all, we should set the state of the element, which is our Flexbox page, display on mobile, that's the state. We should set that to no, and at the same time we should toggle it back. Toggle the element back to, and our element would be group mobile menu bar. So what's happening is here, when we find the page size is greater than 790 and the mobile menu is sitting at yes status, we change the yes status to no, like this, and immediately we toggle it back. So same logic is affecting all of them, and this logic, as we said, is going to work every time. That's how it's set. That being said, let's make it larger, refresh. Oh yes, we forgot one thing, which is by default, this mobile menu bar should not load at page load. It should disappear. Collapse when hidden, checked, right? Okay, so now let's go back and refresh. There you go. It goes away. We have our normal menu, and let's coming down smaller and smaller. We hit 790. Our new menu shows up all the way down to mobile size, and here you go. Drop down menu works, toggling fine, and while this is open, somebody increases the window size, it reaches 790 and goes away, and our large menu comes back. All right, so things are looking great, but we are not quite done yet, because while I was testing, I mean, this is where it should have ended, but I found a bug. See, initially this was our problem, right? It wasn't closing, but now let's say if I open it, close it, and then make it bigger, it comes back. So I did a lot of digging and I came up with a solution. That's what we're going to work on right now. The solution actually could be just by adding to this workflow, when this is greater than 790 and display on mobile is yes, and to this one we just have to add one extra logic. Yes, and another AND logic, and here we're going to go ahead and choose our menu bar, which is the drop down, and say is visible. So now it's going to have to comply with this condition, greater than 790 and display is yes and menu bar is visible. All three is true, then it will go ahead and toggle it. Just by adding one AND logic to it, that fixes it. So let's go and try to refresh. Let's shrink it down, drop down, bring it back up, and let's increase. Everything's smooth. The bug has been fixed. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please smash the like button and the subscribe button. This will help me bring more free contents like this to you every week. Thanks again.